All right, let's jump into another deep dive. This time, we're taking a look at telemedicine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know, that whole idea of healthcare beaming right into your living room.
Right to your couch.
Exactly. We've got some great sources for this one from Johns Hopkins Medicine and newsmedical.net.
Okay, excellent sources.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about how you can essentially get high-quality medical care
From home?
without dealing with traffic.
Yeah.
Or those, like, packed waiting rooms.
The worst.
I know.
So when we talk about telemedicine, it really is about transforming how we think about healthcare.
Okay.
You know, we're all pretty used to video calls these days.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But newsmedical.net actually defines telemedicine even more broadly.
Really?
Yeah, it's about using any kind of tech
Huh.
for real-time, two-way communication with your doctor.
So it could be video, but also like a phone call.
Exactly. Even just sending images to a specialist.
Wow, so much more flexible than I realized.
It really opens up a lot of possibility.
Okay, so we've got convenience, we've got flexibility,
Hmm.
but is it really meant to like completely replace seeing your doctor in person?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's not about replacing doctors entirely.
Okay.
It's more about giving us more options and expanding their reach.
I see, so like an additional tool.
Exactly.
And it seems like Johns Hopkins is really embracing this whole idea.
Oh, absolutely.
In their article, they talk about how they're really expanding their telemedicine options.
Interesting.
They even mention proactive conservation measures they had to take for sterile fluids because of Hurricane Helene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, in situations where things are disrupted,
Right.
telemedicine can really come in and be a really valuable backup.
It's like having a safety net for healthcare.
Yeah, exactly.
And think about it. In a pandemic,
Oh, right.
if we can use telemedicine to quickly screen people,
To contain things faster?
it could really change how we handle infectious diseases.
That's a really important point, especially given what we've all been through recently.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about how adaptable it is and, you know, the potential to prevent things from spreading. But what other benefits are there?
Well, both sources really emphasize comfort and convenience.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine having an appointment during your lunch break.
Right, from your desk.
Exactly. Or even before the kids are awake.
Oh, that would be a game changer.
No more rushing around trying to make it to the doctor's office.
Right. But I do wonder about the quality of the care you get. Can telemedicine really give you the same level of assessment as an in-person visit?
You know, in some cases, it might even be better,
Really?
especially in fields like allergology or neurology.
Okay.
The Johns Hopkins article talks about how seeing someone in their home environment can give doctors valuable insights.
Oh, that's interesting. So, like, an allergist could actually see if your home is full of dust mites.
Exactly.
Oh.
Or a neurologist could observe how you move around in your daily life.
Wow, it's like bringing the doctor's office right into the patient's world.
That's a great way to put it.
And, you know, what about families that don't live in the same place?
Oh, that's another huge benefit. Telemedicine lets loved ones be a part of appointments.
No matter where they are.
Right.
That would be so helpful for, like, elderly parents.
Or anyone with a chronic condition.
It really helps families stay involved.
Absolutely.
And this isn't just for specialists, right?
Right. Both sources talk about how telemedicine is being used more and more for primary care
Oh.
and for managing chronic conditions.
Makes sense. Think about all those follow-up appointments.
Exactly.
Or medication checks, or even, like, initial consultations.
The News Medical article even suggests it could help reduce wait times for new patients.
Oh, wow, that's great. This all sounds amazing, but are there any downsides?
Well, like any new tech, it comes with its own set of challenges.
Okay.
One thing that needs more research is cost effectiveness.
Yeah, the News Medical article mentioned that.
It's not really clear yet if it leads to lower healthcare costs overall.
So we need more data.
We do.
And while it's great for a lot of things, I do wonder if sometimes you just need to see a doctor face to face.
Absolutely. It can't replace everything.
Right.
There are always going to be situations where a hands-on exam is necessary.
So it's all about finding the right balance.
Exactly.
Figuring out how to best use this technology within our existing healthcare system.
And that's what makes this whole discussion so interesting.
It really is.
Telemedicine has so much potential,
For sure.
but there are also some important questions we need to answer.
Absolutely. It's been a fascinating discussion so far.
It really has.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
We'll be back in just a bit to delve deeper into some of those nuances and challenges.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Stay tuned.
Sounds good. As we dig deeper into telemedicine, it becomes clear there's a lot more to consider than just those virtual doctor visits.
Right, like it's not a cure-all,
Exactly. It's not going to magically solve all of healthcare's problems.
Yeah, so what are some of the big challenges that come to mind?
Well, the News Medical article really got me thinking about the technology aspect.
Okay.
It's come a long way from, those early days of like specialized video conferencing equipment.
Oh yeah, they mentioned how now it can be as simple as a desktop computer with a webcam.
And a secure patient portal.
Right.
That shift has made it so much more accessible.
For sure, both for doctors and patients.
But it also brings up those questions of security and privacy.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, we're talking about sensitive medical information being transmitted electronically.
So how do we make sure that it's protected?
Well, the News Medical source, they really emphasize strong encryption
Okay.
and secure data storage.
So it's kind of like the digital equivalent of a doctor's oath
Exactly, making sure that patient confidentiality is maintained.
in this new virtual world.
Right.
Another thing that caught my eye was the licensing issue.
Yeah.
The News Medical article mentions doctors need to be licensed in the same state where the patient's receiving care.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
It really highlights how telemedicine is blurring those traditional boundaries.
And it makes you wonder how these regulations will change as telemedicine becomes more common.
Yeah, could we see a shift towards national licensing?
Or even international.
It's a fascinating question.
It is. It opens up a lot of possibilities.
It also raises questions about, quality control.
And accountability.
Exactly.
So we've got these exciting possibilities, but also some pretty complex challenges to work through.
We do.
Out of all of these, what do you think is the most crucial area for development?
I think for me, it's figuring out the cost effectiveness.
Okay.
Like the News Medical article pointed out, we need more research to understand the true economic impact.
Right. It's one thing to say it's convenient and improves access.
But if it's not financially sustainable,
It won't work in the long run.
exactly. We need to make sure it makes sense from a healthcare system perspective.
And that probably means finding ways to integrate it into our existing healthcare infrastructure.
Right. It's not about creating a whole separate system.
It's about using technology to improve the care we already have.
Exactly.
Maybe even rethinking how healthcare works altogether.
It could happen. Telemedicine could really push us towards a more patient-centered approach
Where care is more convenient.
and responsive to individual needs.
It sounds promising, but it would require a pretty big shift in mindset.
Oh, for sure, both for healthcare providers and patients.
Definitely.
But like with any big innovation, there are going to be bumps along the way.
Right. It's a journey, not a destination.
We're still figuring out how to best use telemedicine.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
There's so much potential for growth and improvement.
It feels like we're on the edge of a new era in healthcare.
I think so too.
Speaking of new frontiers, the Johns Hopkins source mentions remote patient monitoring,
Yes.
especially for managing chronic conditions.
Could you elaborate on that a little? Absolutely. Remote patient monitoring, or RPM, is a really key part of telemedicine.
Okay.
It uses technology to collect health data from patients outside of, traditional healthcare settings.
So instead of going to the doctor for every checkup
The patients can use devices at home,
to monitor their vital signs or their blood sugar,
and that information is sent right to their doctor.
as automatically.
Exactly.
This could be huge for people with chronic conditions.
Absolutely. It allows for more continuous monitoring.
And early detection of problems.
Exactly.
It seems like RPM could really change the game for people with diabetes or heart disease.
It's all about empowering patients to take a more active role in managing their own health,
And it gives doctors a real-time look at how their patients are doing.
enabling more timely interventions.
It feels like telemedicine combined with things like RPM could fundamentally change how we think about healthcare.
It really could. It could lead to more proactive care.
Better management of chronic conditions.
And ultimately, better health outcomes for everyone.
This has been a really thought-provoking conversation so far.
It has been.
We're going to take a quick pause here.
Okay.
But when we come back, we'll explore some specific examples of how telemedicine is being used in different areas of healthcare.
Sounds good.
Don't go anywhere. All right, we're back. And now I'm really excited to dive into some real-world examples.
Yeah, let's get specific.
Exactly.
Mm.
How is telemedicine actually being used across different medical specialties?
Well, one area where it's making a big difference is mental health care.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, both sources talk about the rise of teletherapy,
Okay,
virtual psychiatric consultations,
makes sense.
even online support groups.
It seems like telemedicine could be really helpful for mental health services.
I think so too.
It takes away those barriers like travel time and maybe even some of the stigma around seeking help.
Absolutely. And it's not just about convenience.
Right.
Studies are showing that teletherapy can be just as effective as in-person therapy.
That's great to hear.
For certain conditions, of course.
Of course.
But it's very promising.
What about other areas?
Well, the Johns Hopkins source specifically mentions telemedicine for pre- and post-operative care.
Oh, wow.
Imagine having virtual check-ins with your surgeon before and after a procedure.
All from home.
Exactly.
That would definitely reduce stress for patients.
For sure.
And it seems like it could help catch any potential complications early on.
Absolutely. It allows for closer monitoring.
What about managing chronic conditions?
Oh, that's another big one.
It seems like telemedicine could be huge for people with things like diabetes or heart disease.
Both sources highlight how it's being used to monitor patients remotely,
Okay.
provide medication reminders, and offer those virtual consultations for chronic disease management.
It's amazing to think that people could have those regular check-ins with their doctor, track their vital signs at home,
Right from their living room?
and even get medication reminders right to their phone.
It really puts patients in the driver's seat of their own health.
And helps healthcare providers stay more connected.
Exactly.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
I think so too.
As technology keeps developing, who knows what other uses we'll find for telemedicine.
It's a really exciting time for healthcare.
But with all this new technology, there are definitely challenges we need to consider.
Oh, absolutely.
We talked earlier about things like cost effectiveness,
Right.
privacy concerns, and the need for updated regulations.
Those are big ones.
What other hurdles do we need to overcome to really make telemedicine a seamless part of healthcare?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is ensuring equitable access.
That's a good point.
Not everyone has reliable internet access.
Or the technology they need.
Exactly.
The digital divide is a real concern.
It is.
We need to make sure telemedicine doesn't make those existing health disparities even worse.
Absolutely. And another challenge is figuring out reimbursement.
Oh.
Insurance coverage for telemedicine can be inconsistent.
So we need clear policies.
We do, to make sure it's sustainable in the long run.
It's almost like we're trying to force this new way of delivering care into those old healthcare payment models.
It's a bit of a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget about privacy and security.
Those are ongoing concerns
We need to build trust in the technology.
if we want people to feel comfortable using it.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into telemedicine,
Yeah,
I'm feeling a mix of excitement and, I guess you could say, cautious optimism.
I understand that.
Telemedicine clearly has the potential to transform healthcare.
There's no doubt about that.
But it's not a magic solution.
Right,
And we have to be proactive about addressing those challenges.
absolutely.
Telemedicine gives us this amazing opportunity to make healthcare more accessible
More convenient,
and more patient-centered
but it takes careful planning
and thoughtful
to
integration.
make sure everyone benefits.
And to you, our listener, we leave you with this thought. Imagine healthcare that isn't limited to a doctor's office.
A world where you can manage your health from anywhere.
Anytime.
What would that world look like for you?
What role would telemedicine play in your life? It's something to think about as we move into this exciting new era of healthcare.